Hi everyone, this is Manel Molina, account manager at the traffic safety unit here at TRAFXSAFE. So we are in ITE Canada conference, and we're just going to do a presentation about how to use TRAFXSAFE in your road safety projects, especially focusing on vulnerable road users and how to detect some conflicts when you're doing these studies. So let's dive in. We usually talk with transportation leaders, both on a high level, but also those engineers and planners doing the work, both agencies and consulting firms. So if that represents you a little bit and you're looking to increase the firm's value, looking for expanding some revenue streams as well, I can see people in the audience, and then adding technologies to your toolbox, improve those road safety plans or enhancing them, trying to build a more safe systems approach, and unlock some of those funding opportunities to get and improve safety in your areas. So let me start by touching on some of the challenges that we see, and we talked with our clients pretty often. Citizen concerns, so those calls that come in and say, look, this intersection is really dangerous. What are some of the things that we can do about it? So we obviously need to respond to that, and sometimes we have limited tools on how to evaluate those locations. So it's definitely a challenge that we see. And then being able to prioritize safety hotspots. So when we're doing all the screening lists, we're using crash data, other sources of data. How can we prioritize? How can we put our attention into the areas that need our attention the most to improve safety, both in terms of where the citizens are saying that risks are happening and also where we see in the crash data. So how can we manage all this and prioritize? And then being able to justify some of the design and funding. So you might see a location that needs some improvement, but you don't have data to back that up or even look at it, evaluate what's happening there. So being able to get that funding is another challenge that we see. And then validate those investments. Once we put safety treatments or countermeasures, how do we know that we've actually improved the situation, the safety risk profile in that particular area? So another challenge that we see, right? Specifically to vulnerable road users, in terms of we have limited data, so collecting data is not as easy or straightforward as with cars. So we need to use other ways or other tools. So we see that in particular, getting accurate volumes or speeds, we need high frequency of monitoring, even throughout a couple of weeks perhaps, to get the accurate representation of all those users navigating that space. And then when we look at crash data, it's very discrete data, so we might want to look at 5 to 10 year period to have an accurate representation so we can work and make decisions. So how can we make the best decisions if we don't have good data? In terms of we have little margin of error, so vulnerable users are more likely to suffer injuries in collisions. So we need to go to the extra mile to protect those and identify the most effective countermeasures, but at the same time minimize the safety risk. So even though we need to have a low probability of having a collision, because the risk here is quite high for those users. And then we see that the current state of the art is more of a reactive approach, being able to, when evaluating studies and projects involving vulnerable road users, we see that we wait for crashes to happen before doing something, but the risks, as I mentioned, are quite high. So how can we improve that process or be beyond that and try to see where those crashes will happen in the future? So video analytics can help you quite a lot, and I'm just going to explain you four ways on how to use it to help with those challenges that I mentioned. One is being able to identify and quantify those safety risks, those calls that I mentioned that the citizens come in, how you can go there, being able to quantify, get data, what are some of the events, and when we start to see trends of near misses, conflicts happening, how can we act or prioritize once we combine with a crash data? So how can we prioritize? We might have a location with one crash in 5 years, and then we have another location where we see a lot of near misses happening every week. So being able to give you that information so you can make sure that you're focusing on the right side. Then helping you make strategic investments. Sometimes you have limited data, so what you do is you probably wanna look at changing the whole design of the location, but perhaps you don't need to. So doing a more comprehensive analysis, and you're able to identify perhaps you only need a protected turn or a stop signal, whatever you need, right? So being able to make those strategic investments for those limited budget that we have. and then validate the improvement, doing a before and after analysis, being able to understand and validate that that countermeasure has actually reduced the risk profile. So when we talk about video analysis, this is what we are able to show. So identifying those road users, those pedestrians, cyclists, cars, vans, buses, pickup trucks, so you name it, e-scooters as well. So being able to track them, track the trajectories, the speeds, and then be able to plot that and identify conflicts is using surrogate safety measures, so post-encroachment time or time to collision. And when we talk about conflicts, what are those? Where you can see here example, as you can see. So we want to use this tool to identify those trends. And when we start to see all of these happening in the same places, for example, there was a study that was issued by a consulting firm in the US, and we did a work in Pennsylvania DOT, and they say that a confirmed conflict, 60% of them, once they compare that with crash data, they see a 60% validation of crash data happening in those scenarios. So this tool will help you be proactive and understand where those trends are going and being able to validate and prevent crashes from even happening. So what's the value proposition? Was our TRAFXSAFE and TRAFXSAFE tool value proposition. So we can support video collected from any camera that is in the market, both temporary, you put it in a place to do a one-time study, connected live feed cameras that tie into TMCs, and also drone data. And able to conduct extensive analysis period, weeks, months, and years if you need to. In-house expertise, building that in-house expertise, in-house data conflict analysis, and being able to train your team if you prefer to build that analysis expertise so you can have more control on the project and do this analysis on a regular basis. And then rich data, so going back into the vulnerable users, being able to identify, gather critical and accurate data on the user behavior and how they are affecting the vulnerable users' interactions in a location. When we talk about our platform, this is a little bit how it looks like, a little overview. So you have the high injury network where you can prioritize and compare different sites, different studies that you make. And this is a little bit on overview. You can view the information either by site, movement scenario, or road user type. So different ways of slicing through. And you can create your own chart. So you can see here the traffic volume by time of the day and picking up a few movements so you can see how they compare with each other. And you can also export that. So speed profiles, speed distributions of all the users, but also if you want to focus on bicycles, for example, you can also get that information out. In terms of the safety analysis, a plot with the speed versus time of reaction, and then those heat maps. So you see where those interactions and conflicts are happening in a location. So being able to give you the perspective. And once you click into a particular event, you have a video clip. So you can manually verify what's happening here and the particular context of that event. So being able to confirm that conflict. We also do some violation data, so a speed violation and red light running violation. And we provide a video for this speed violation as well. And then a countermeasure tool. So instead of working with a clearinghouse, you can work that is integrated, and we make it easier for you to compare and see the different countermeasures that you can apply. And we have also as well some trajectories on the movement, so you understand how the users are navigating that space. So very easy, intuitive, and easy to report and get that data as well. So you can add this to multiple projects. So you can add value to road safety audits, high injury network, building a safe routes to school strategy. So looking at the areas where the kids are biking into school and making sure their risks there are low. Any corridor study before and after, so you name it. We can help in most of your projects in the traffic safety arena. Thank you so much, appreciate it. If you want to talk and have a little more of a discussion one-to-one, so please feel free to email me or call me. I will have that information in the video and the post. So thank you so much, appreciate it. Have an excellent rest of the day. Bye-bye.